Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Azeroth and welcome back to Midi, my level 60 priest on Mirage Raceway EU. Hope you are all doing really well today. This is a different video. I've just picked World of Warcraft as a background, but the discussion today isn't really anything to do with video games. It's actually 11 o'clock at night here in the UK and I completely forgot today is World Mental Health Day, and I wanted to make something about it, but I haven't been very well and I've been busy at work and I nearly forgot. And I wanted to do something before I went to bed because mental health is a very important thing to me. The work that I do is very much involved in mental health, and previous jobs that I have, it's always been like a key part of it, of the sort of jobs that I do. And it's also very important to me because a lot of people that I know have been through mental health issues, and I myself have as well, and I think we'll talk a little bit about that today. But I just wanted to start with just a little trigger warning that while talking about this, maybe I will cover topics that are quite traumatizing or re-traumatizing to people, that maybe talks about mental health breakdowns and the stuff around that. So if this isn't for you, if you don't feel safe in that, then please, feel free to move on from the video. But I just wanted to make a short video to talk about it because I think it is very, very important to talk about. So I guess I'll just start by saying, if any of you, of my viewers, or even if you just stumbled across this video, if you are struggling at all with your mental health, firstly, you just need to know that you are absolutely not alone, even though it may feel that way. It can feel so isolating, I know. But it's important that you know that there are other people who feel just the same as you and feel lost and worried and scared. And it is awful, but there are people that you can speak to. Maybe you'd feel like you can't because of shame or stigma, or maybe you don't feel like you have that social circle or support network. There are always professional people available. There's the Samaritans. There'll be local contacts as well in your local area. Please speak to somebody and get it off your chest. I know it is difficult. I know how hard I struggled with it. And the minute I started being able to talk to people, it was like this great weight that lifted. And it stopped feeling like this personal battle, and it felt like something that suddenly, what felt like a mountain was now just this, I don't know, this tangible thing that I could finally touch and shape. And I know that might not make much sense, but instead of being this big overarching heavy thing over my head pushing me down and sort of influencing nearly everything I did, suddenly it became outside of me. Just because it was no longer this storm in my head, it was outside. Talking to people is the most beautiful thing that you can do in terms of your mental health. I truly believe that. And I'm not even talking about like severe things. Obviously, if you are if you've got severe mental health problems and things like that, obviously you want to talk to people and you want to get help. But even if you just feel a bit sad or a bit blue, and maybe you think, oh, well, that's not really something I should talk about, who cares really? It is important. It is important that those conversations happen because it makes mental health become something that's quite normal. And it is normal, just like we all have physical health. We all have a mental health. It's not something that you don't have and you do have. If you're fine, and you're happy, you have a good mental health. That doesn't mean it's always going to be like that. And just the way that if you're having a bad day and your mental health might not be in a good place, that doesn't mean that it's going to be like that forever. I want this community that's building here through this channel and through all like the other little channels that we've sort of communicate with, for it to be a safe place for people that can talk openly about those things. I know what it's like to be in the dark, in the worst parts of it, when you feel helpless and, you know, that you don't want to continue. I know what that's like. I've been through some real bad times, and knowing that there would be a community that I could go speak to, that's even not people that I don't know. I think knowing that was there would have helped me then. And I was lucky that I have understanding parents and sort of understanding friends, but you know, I could, being able to even have that sort of just escape away from, like, maybe you're not ready to speak to someone like super close to you, having that a place to sort of blow off some steam, I think would be super useful. And that's kind of what I would like to one day sort of create. I will just tell a little bit about my story with it, because I think it's worth being open about it, especially on a day like this, you know, World Mental Health Day. Just so you know where I'm coming from, and that I'm not just, you know, virtue signaling, or just doing this just because, oh, I should say something because it's Mental Health Day and I'll just make something up. So, through my teenage years and my early 20s, I always was a quiet, nervous, shy person. I had a lot of concerns about how I looked and stuff like that, you know, not major. And I always thought to myself, I know there's something not quite right with me, but I've got quite a good life. Why am I sad? Or, you know, am I sad? I don't know. Why do I feel different? That's how I felt a lot of the time. I felt different. And it took some real traumatic events for me to finally sort of step up and go, okay, I'm actually going to do something about this. I had a lot of soul searching and learning about myself and maturing. At the age of 26, 27, I was working in the homeless sector. I've always worked in the third sector in charities and helping, you know, and sort of helping people with struggles of various kinds. But this time I was in the homeless sector, and I worked in an inner city hostel for an organisation that I don't want to mention, but it was a, God, I can't remember, I think it was like 40 or 50 bed hostel. At the time when I started, it was all women, and then it became a mixed hostel. And I'm sure many of you, maybe if you've worked in the homeless services or have some sort of understanding of that, the people who are entrenched homeless, they live very chaotic lives. Obviously, there's a mixture of things going on: mental health issues, drug addiction, you know, alcohol abuse, just all kinds of stuff going on. It's a very complex issue, homelessness. So obviously, with that, you have a caseload of people that I was working with, and they're living traumatic lives. And because of that, you as a worker came in contact with a lot of traumatic things. And this is where I'm going to put the trigger warning again, just because I'm going to talk about some pretty dark stuff now. So please, if you don't want to, please go off now. But during that time, I saw people self-harm in front of me, overdose, die, fight each other, bloodied, you know, all sort, like just horrendous stuff. Yeah, and the support that we had as workers was very limited. It was very much grit your teeth and bear it, and maybe laugh it off and go for a drink later and forget about it. And all of this through years sort of just built up and built up in me, and I became, just that shell of a human being. There's a picture of me that I took, I think it was either Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve, or so. It was around Christmas time anyway, and I was working like a 12-hour shift, and I took a picture of myself and sent it to my friend because we were just talking over WhatsApp. It was I don't know, I was on a break or something. And I look at that picture now, and God, I've never been like a super big Jack muscly person, but I think at that point weighed 8.5 stone, and I'm 5'11". That is very underweight, and I looked sad and ill, and this was all just building up from dealing with traumatic things and not dealing with it properly and not being supported, professionally or personally. Obviously, I would talk to my parents about it and say, "Oh, I had a bad day" and stuff like this. But when things get that traumatic and you need professional support, and you're not getting it from the place that employs you, you just, and there's a work culture of grin and bear it. You just, you just, I don't know. I feel like you just leave bits of yourself every time you come into the door again, just to try and get through it. This ended up about 6 months after I took that picture. I'd been off ill twice in 2 weeks with a migraine. I'd gotten to the work 2 hours later. I'd had these massive migraine attacks where they blinded me, and I had to get sent home. This should have been a sign that there was something severely wrong, but I came back in because the culture was, hey, we're all dealing with this, so you deal with it too. And the thing with when you live in a place or working in a place which is chaotic, when it's quiet, you're not finally like, oh, finally, it's nice and relaxed. You're thinking, something's about to happen. There's no reason why it should be quiet because it's always chaotic. But even when you were relaxed, when it was quiet, you were just waiting for something. So you were just constantly living in this chaotic nervousness. And I was sat there, and then I heard like shouting, and I knew, right, well, two people are fighting, and it was a couple who were living in the hostel together, and I had to separate them because I was, obviously worried about the welfare. And I remember, I feel like I had an out of body experience where I saw myself in between these two people who were fighting. There was no one else, no other staff there at the moment. There were people on site, they just were elsewhere. And I remember looking at the guy, and I saw the rage in his eyes and the rage, and he looked at me, the way he looked at me, and I remember looking at him and just thinking, I'm in severe danger. So when that finished, when it calmed down, luckily I was not hurt, and and no one else was hurt. I went into the staff room just to make a cup of tea and just decompress, and I just had a complete breakdown, like just crying and just like I just lost it. And one of the backroom staff, who she was like an admin, dealt with the finances. She was back there in her office, which was attached, and she invited me in, and she was so lovely. And I don't remember much of that day apart from that bit, but I remember having my head in my hands and looking up to her and just saying, I don't think I can do this anymore. And I got sent home, and I never went back. I was I was off sick for 6 months, I think. And yeah, I don't think I ever intended to go back, but yeah, during that time I got CBT counselling. I went on a short course of mental health medication and started doing a lot of soul searching about myself and sort of putting effort into my own mental health, my own physical health, my own well-being. It just so happened that during that time, when I was often finding myself, I met a girl who is now my wife. And obviously I'm not going to talk about her story, but she's had sort of similar issues with mental health. So we really bonded over that, and it was no longer this scary thing. It was something that I could talk about. I've since then, over the years, that was like 4 or 5 years ago now, 6 years ago. I've gone through more therapy because it came about that it wasn't just CBT that I needed. I needed intensive stuff around PTSD, because of some of the stuff that I saw. And I went on another short course of medication, which I'm off now. And but that therapy just helped me so much. Like, I can't even begin to tell you how life-changing it was. And it can be scary. I know it can, to take that first step. And it might take a few times for you to take that first step. But I can honestly say, if you are struggling, please talk about it. It saved me. I don't know where I'd be today or if I'd be here. I don't know what would have happened. I really don't know. But I know I wouldn't be as happy and I wouldn't be the person that I am today. Because I think the monster in my head would have probably got the best of me. Yeah, I know, pretty intense stuff. I'm sorry, but I wanted to make this video because it's very important to me, like I said, and you know, I chose a life after that of caring and loving people, and you know, I saw a T-shirt recently that said "Caring is cool," and I thought it really is. You know, like, I don't care if people think that it's a weakness to care, and whether that makes you not an alpha male, or I could not give a shit, you know, what people think about stuff like that. Because the most important thing is that people feel supported and happy. Especially, you know, you can't fix people, really. I used to be a bad fixer. I wanted to fix everyone, but you can help people. Sometimes just by being yourself and being kind and open. Sometimes by intervening a bit more. But we can all help each other by, I think, approaching the world with a bit of kindness. You can really change the world and help people by approaching your life with some care and some kindness. Yeah, so we're going to finish there. What's this? It's probably going to be about 20 minutes long. I didn't intend for it to be this long, but there you go. I hope you're all well, and I hope you're all safe. Please feel free to open up and talk if you need to. I'm always here if you need that help, even if it's just like a shoulder to shoulder to talk to. That's not a phrase, but you know what I mean. Yeah. Hope you're all well, and I will see you very, very soon. And stay safe. Bye for now.